We know the use of cosmetics goes back at least 7,000 years, with ancient Egypt being one of the earliest cultures to use makeup. Today, cosmetics are universally accepted as products for enhancing appearances. However, in the Middle Ages, using cosmetics was not a straightforward convenience, while the ingredients used in many cases would not pass modern health standards. We now present the first episode in a 2-episode series on medieval cosmetics. The second episode will deal with the intriguing issue of whether medieval cosmetics played a role in the death of Elizabeth I. Similar to modern times, the pursuit of beauty during the Middle Ages was a precious goal. Though make no mistake, medieval cosmetics often contained noxious or undesirable substances that could cause serious harm, even leading to death. So, what were these shocking medieval cosmetics that could make Middle Ages beauty harmful for your health? Before mentioning these poisonous and potentially deadly cosmetics, we must take a brief look at how society viewed the use of medieval makeup. At various times during the medieval period, the use of cosmetics could be constricted or outlawed altogether. The church played an important role in all aspects of society, and they thought wearing makeup was vain and immoral. In fact, the church and medieval lawmakers considered wearing makeup a form of fraud or deception to men or husbands because it altered women's natural appearance. Therefore, in many cases, these powerful medieval institutions considered wearing makeup a criminal act. However, over time, the church did allow for certain exceptions. If cosmetics were required to make women pleasing for their husbands only and not other men, they were permitted. Also, if women were sickly, claimed disfigurement, or other medical reasons for using cosmetics to be presentable in society, it would be allowed. Nevertheless, despite the consequences, there were various women using cosmetics that did not meet these requirements. They exercised discretion while not drawing unwanted attention to their use of makeup. Now, let us look at these harmful medieval cosmetics which required courage to wear for these reasons and more during the Middle Ages. In medieval times, we must remember that most women were in the peasant class and therefore did not have the resources to purchase cosmetics. Even for those that could afford makeup, they were not the pristine beauty products offered by today's high-fashion companies. Medieval lipstick contained both natural and peculiar ingredients. Roots like alkanet, berries, and beets would often be mixed with animal fats and applied directly to lips or used in balms. However, even here, there were societal norms to follow. Light pink or rose shades would not draw too much scrutiny, since these colors were commonly associated with innocence and purity. Unfortunately, these products could be toxic. For instance, certain alkaloids present in the alkanet root may cause liver and/or lung toxicity. In addition, cinnabar, a common ore of mercury, would be used to achieve red lips or rouge for cheeks. In its natural or pigment form, it is considered low in toxicity. Though a cinnabar is heated or exposed to rising temperatures, the pure mercury it contains is released and can be absorbed into the skin or inhaled. At high levels of constant exposure in that state, cinnabar could cause anything from loss of sensation to death. Unlike modern practices of extending eyelashes and accentuating eyebrows, medieval ladies were of a completely different mindset. Women living during the Middle Ages in Europe would remove eyelashes by plucking them out with tweezers and shave off their eyebrows. Their preferred beauty look was an oval, featureless face with a high hairline. If a woman did not have a high natural hairline, they would painfully remove hair with tweezers to achieve it. To complement this medieval beauty look, small lips and noses were desired in an attempt at perceived purity. Now comes the nasty part. When this fashion trend changed and women wanted their eyebrows and eyelashes to return, many had issues with patchiness and slow growth. This is when the disgusting practice of using rodent fur from creatures like mice was often used to fill in these deficiencies as eyebrow hairpieces. Blonde hair was seen by women in medieval Europe as signifying purity or angel's hair, so many would use great effort to try and achieve a lighter tint. Potions like honey, alum, and black sulfur would be added to the scalp before sitting in sunlight for hours, as this mixture would hopefully bleach their hair. While both sulfur and alum are low in toxicity, repeated exposure to high levels could cause shortness of breath, skin irritations, and chest tightness. In addition, so-called magical stones, usually opal necklaces, would be constantly worn in a belief that this stone's magical powers would keep hair color from darkening. Later, when opal became associated with bad luck, this practice would cease. With such a high value placed on unblemished skin in medieval times, women would go to great lengths to remove freckles, pimples, birthmarks, and other skin blemishes. Why? Skin marks were thought to be stains of indecent sexual thoughts, witchcraft, or God's wrath against sins. Therefore, a range of disgusting to deadly treatments were often used in an attempt to get rid of blemishes. Let's start with nasty cures. One common practice included filling a wooden bowl with the blood of pigs, horses, or stags, then applying the contents to one's face. Another beast of burden treatment used the minced dung of oxen, which would be applied directly to blemishes. On the more nauseating side, medieval women desiring a clean complexion would often use human or animal urine to wash their face. Also, at this time in history when smallpox scars were feared by women, marks were filled in with human fat. This substance would be obtained from an apothecary or collected from the latest victim of a local executioner. There was even a common drinking potion for medieval women to treat skin discolorations. To prepare this treatment, the bark of a willow tree would be split to gain its water, then mixed with wine before boiling the mixture. Then, ladies would drink the resulting liquid. Continuing the medieval theme of maintaining a purified face, translucence was also desired. In fact, women would draw blue lines on their faces and chest with blue ink, so it would appear you could see through their skin. This was considered the ultimate fashion in translucent skin. Women in the Middle Ages also desired this pale appearance to signify they did not work outside and supposedly indicate they were not afflicted by disease. Now we shall mention more deadly treatments. Using skin bleaching lotions and facial masks was a common practice. Poisonous ingredients used in these mixtures included mercury, mercury chloride, and lead, which were often combined with flour. Prolonged exposure to pure mercury and mercury vapor is toxic to humans. There could be negative consequences for the nervous, digestive, or immune systems, and even be fatal. Constant lead exposure at even moderate levels can lead to kidney issues, problems with the nervous system, seizures, and even death. Therefore, women became sick, endured harmful skin irritations, and even died from these regular cosmetic treatments. Rouge, or white lead, was also commonly used to give the face a pale complexion. Contents here included vinegar and white lead. Once again, due to the toxicity of constant lead exposure, regular usage of this cosmetic would often lead to insomnia, paralysis, or even death. During medieval times, church leaders feared the consequences from temptations of the flesh. Therefore, as a way to repel liaisons, they urged people not to bathe in order to lead a pious life. It was hoped the power of body odor would overcome human desires. So, how could a medieval woman keep her scent from becoming unbearably offensive? In order to follow the edicts of their powerful church leaders, medieval ladies had to be creative. To mask their body odors, they made various perfumes and scents to overpower their smell. These included fragrance spice sachets, which were placed in strategic places on the body, like under the arms and skirts. Once they had lost their effectiveness, they would replace them with a fresh sachet. Lice were also a constant issue in medieval times. Therefore, women desired treatments to rid themselves of this irritating pestilence. One of the various solutions used included a mixture of mercury and butter. It was then applied to the scalp, armpits, and spots where these problems commonly occurred. Of course, the mercury was toxic and could even be fatal with prolonged usage. The cosmetics industry was estimated to have global sales of over $260 billion US in 2022. In the developed world, it is stated that women on average use 12 personal care products every day. Thankfully, they do not suffer the odd restrictions and customs of medieval times while wearing their makeup. More importantly, they do not risk dying from using their favorite cosmetics. Thank you for supporting us at Medieval to Modern. Please be sure to watch the second episode in this series or another episode shown at the end of this video. Also be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I wish you good tidings, as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.